You were mentioning that it's going to be the battle of the one positions. Okay. Well, that completely derails whatever chain of thought that I had.
Yeah, Necropho's coming out. I mean, it counters out the Spectre, right? Like, it's still one of those big Spectre counters, even throughout the Ultra late game, even if Spectre farms as much as it wants. The Reaper's Scythe's going to be a really big problem. Early game, very annoying for the Spectre as well. But yeah, it's a hero we don't get to see very often. John does tend to bring it up very often, though. He loves seeing this hero up against the Spectre. So John, you always tell me. Tell us about it. Is this Necrophos going to be the pick here? Is this what it is?
It is against a Spectre with no saves for the Spectre. You don't have disruption on the Spectre side. You don't have the snowball on the Spectre side. It's going to be hard to kind of get that positioning right for Dreamocell in the middle of a fight. They're going to have to try to target the back line, jump that Necrophos first to ensure you're going to have a stable run with that big pause one. This is also something we've seen Miracle play a couple of times in the offlane, quite comfortably. It's say within his top 3 heroes, along with Mars and his Centaur up there as well. But it makes it more complicated for Boom to play that protective style around Dreamocell now.
And on paper, it seems very cute. Soul Catcher into Reaper's Scythe. You're like, bro, where'd all my HP go? Against a high strength target like a Spectre, it looks pretty good, but Boom are adapting. Not necessarily all about buffing up the Spectre. Now they have a Ricky to help intercept some things. Probably hunt down this Necrophos, put a smoke cloud on him, and maybe try to nullify him through a Ghost Shroud.
Yeah, I think the Ricky pick was quite nice. Like, they're obviously going to run it in the mid lane. Makoto, one of those mid players that can have massive impact in the game. So I like seeing him in heroes like this. And against what they've got on GXR, there's not really a counter towards the Ricky right now. Like, you haven't got the catch for it. Very hard to lock it down. It pretty much deletes all those heroes that GXR does have, especially once you have the Diffusal Blade up. So I think it's a very, very good pick. And as well as that, it just kind of gives you that secondary kind of carry. Like, it can transition to a carry if it needs to. So if Dreamocell has a really tough time on the Spectre, you can kind of rely on Makoto on the Ricky instead. I really like it. I think the draft for Boom Esports is going very well this far.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and even a bit of a denial pick also, because Ricky, Dreamocell played, a repeat pick, because Dreamocell played it versus Execration in their earlier series.
And we've seen mid-Ricky kind of pop back in. It was SMG that I remember running it. Moon had a great time. Just comes on really fast. And it's also this natural nullifier carrier to kind of handle that Necrophos as well. Ghost Shroud tends to be really annoying. So on top of popping those soft targets, Necrophos is not going to feel too durable as well. What I'm keen to seeing now is what exactly they pick here for their safe lane, what the In Your Dream hero is really going to be. Because we're assuming Leshrac mid, might not feel too good against a Ricky depending on how far forward Mikato plays. They still need that big win condition on the side of GXR themselves, and options are rather limited. We see the Respect ban on the Lifestealer. That's something that we have seen IYD play quite a fair bit. So they're going to have to kind of weigh their options. Even a Meepo Respect ban, just preventing that sort of a cheesy last pick there.
And meanwhile, Boom need to figure out their FBZ hero. Respect in that regard as well. Mars gets banned out. Centaur gets banned out. And Boom banned out the Tide, so options are limited. They go with a Pango. It's a fun draft from Boom.
It's a very fun draft, but I like it, right? Because you need someone that can play with the Ricky, as well as that Lion. So I think it's going to be a really strong mid-game timing, right? Because all you want is you want to give Dreamocell space. He's a Spectre. He wants to hit creeps forever. So you've got this kind of 4 Protect 1. The Pango, great team fight with the Rolling Thunder. The Ricky, very hard to catch. So much Disable and Burst with the Lion. And then you've also got this kind of tanky Undying. I think it's going to be an extremely hard draft to deal with for GXR. I don't really see a way for them to deal with it, because now you've got these 2 cores that you can't really control. Like, how do you stop this Pango from just a full duration Rolling Thunder throughout this game? I just don't see it. And maybe that's the way. Maybe you go for the Doom, but is this like a pos 1 Lesh now, or?
Yeah, is Safe Lane Lesh?
Yeah.
In Your Dream's playing it. Alacrity is playing the mid Doom, and it's going to be Mizu on the offlane Necro.
Wow. It's a bit of a shakeup. We don't tend to see that safe lane Lesh, off lane mid, much more common, but I think a few teams have done it before. It's just been a really long time. It does mean that Galaxy Racer has a really fast game to play. Like, they can't afford to stall this out. They can't afford a 60-minute game as we've seen. They have to play this within 30, 35 at the latest. Take those tier 1 towers with a Leshrac, apply as much pressure as possible. They're scaling towards late game. It's not amazing. Maybe you could play around with the disruption illusions just a bit. Maybe you rely more on your Doom. You have to really play with the Reaper side. All of those are really long cooldowns on those two heroes at the end. So you don't really want to drag this one late here.
So I'm cool with turning the Leshrac into a safe lane. That's like a European and North American thing for sure. But why Doom, Mike? Out of all of the offlaners that were, I guess, left in the pool still, or rather all of the mid laners that were left in the pool still, what is the Doom doing here?
I think the Doom's going to have some pretty nice value against the Riki, right? Like, you just want to kind of Doom it up, and then Makoto can't really do anything throughout the team fight, and I think that's going to be the one way they can actually try and shut down Makoto throughout this game one. Obviously, still very good against the Spectre as well, just having that mute there against all the items that it does tend to pick up, but I think it is more kind of just revolving around just trying to shut down the Riki. And if you can take care of the Riki, then you're not really going to have a very strong mid-game for Boom Esports. And that way, GXR can just kind of run over you before the Spectre gets online.
And it keeps up with their original strategy of the Shadow Demon and this Necrophos maybe being the answer to Spectre, but I gotta see it play out. Mike LePhoenix and JohnXFire, take it away for game number 1.
Thank you very much, Tsunami. It is indeed MLP and JohnXFire here with you today. John, welcome back, sir. I know Tsunami already asked you, but I've got to ask you too. How you doing?
Doing great. This is exciting. We didn't really touch on it, right? Like, former teammates playing against each other. We've also got a bit of a streamer fight, right? Like Dreamucell and In Your Dream, very well-known personalities. In fact, they're already fighting here.
Absolutely. They're already going in Your Dream. Very far forward, some stickers being placed. Dreamucell will go for a bit of a chase, but I don't think they're really going to be able to catch anyone out. Of course, for Boom, you've got this Undying, so you don't necessarily want to fight into an Undying at level 1. It'd be very scary stuff. It's poor old FPC. It's copping the tips already.
Yeah, he called out someone being a scammer, so I think he's just throwing shade to In Your Dream as well. You know, that's the history between these teams. They've played with each other a lot. It's almost like an Indonesian civil war, but not quite, because GXR is a bit of a mix. And that history just carries through. And we talked to Boom last time, right? Like in the Pro Series, they wanted to play GXR. They didn't get to, but we'll see if it does pay off this time. If that expectation they had in previous tournaments carries over here, because GXR have looked a lot sharper since then. They've just been steadily improving with In Your Dream and Pause 1. And they're also playing left field in this game. Like, they have to play this really fast play style with that Leshrac. But if they do manage to start shutting down those tier 1 towers early on, then you could kind of argue there might not be enough space for a Spectre, for a Riki to hit those timings as well.
That's a very good point as well, John. We didn't really go over this during the panel, but the drafts are just so different to what we're used to from these two teams. And I suppose that may kind of go back to the fact that these two teams know each other very well. So they, the bans were what you're used to seeing being picked up by either side. And well, now with two different drafts, I guess we really don't know what to expect. As we may as well start off by talking about the bot lane, where Mizu going to be currently harassed out by Kezcute. It's going to be very annoying up against the Undying. Of course, you've got Dreamucell there on the carry Spectre, along with Jokam on the Pos 4 Tusk. There is a bit of creep pulling action going on here between these two supports, but well, we've seen this one before as well, John. They kind of just meet in the middle at the creep camps, lock both of them at the same time. Looks like Dreamucell, he's going to be able to freely farm it up.
This is a bit more painful for Mizu. He's not getting the EXP he wants. With the Necrophos and Tusk lane, you really need these heroes to level up quickly. Necrophos, especially level 1, just doesn't feel great. And you can already see a bit of pressure from Kezcute. He gets the decay off, starts to right-click you down. The heal coming through from Death Pulse just doesn't feel amazing early on. And Necrophos plus Tusk, I mean, normally a Tusk is a very aggressive support, but with a Necrophos, it doesn't tend to play out that way. You can see Jokam with the Ice Shards just maybe looking for opportunities to isolate, say, Kezcute, but you don't necessarily win those early trades in this lane here.
Of course, up at top lane as well, you've got In Your Dream, who gets a very nice split earth off onto Hyde. Doesn't lead to much, just a bit of harassment. Be up against FBZ on that offlane Pango, and he does have the support of Polison on the Shadow Demon. This position 1 less, John. I mean, we've seen this before a while back. It was very popular at one stage. I believe we have seen In Your Dream play it quite a bit, in fact. Does it inspire confidence in you?
It normally doesn't. I think in GXR's case, with the rest of the heroes they have with the rest of their lineup, they've got a very specific ID to it. So they're kind of tuned for that early timing, and that's why Oswin and Leshrac can work out here. They just can't afford to miss. They have to play perfectly early on. In Your Dream's already off to a fairly steady start in this lane, clearing out the camps with a pull. He's pretty much uncontested in his last hits. Not too much FBZ can really do to pressure here. Like on this Pangolier, you tend to have a good time, especially once you get something like an early Orb Corrosion, but FBZ is not even starting that. Looks like he's just rushing the urn, wants some self-sustain, wants to be able to spam his spells, and it's much more passive from Hyde as well. He's just focusing on stacks, seeing the same thing from Paulson, but when you play the stacking wars against a Shadow Demon's going to win.
When they go, they've got In Your Dream with the Hex out. He's going to have to try and find a way out, but FBZ connects a very nice swashbuckle, avoids the Split Earth, and gets the first blood. And we used to always say this, but with a Leshrac, John, you never want to see it dying this early on. It is a very momentum-based hero, especially when you're playing a Position 1 Leshrac. You need to have the best start possible. Now, that's not what's happening in Your Dream.
It's just unfortunate. I think with the emphasis on stacks from Paulson, it's a bit further to walk into that triple camp area for the Shadow Demon compared to Hyde just walking into his triangle. And they're going to try again.
Earth Spike up. He'll be alright this time around, though. It looks like he does pop the Edict. In fact, they are going to go for the Disruption into the Split Earth. Nice little combination there as they go on to Hyde. But Hyde is going to run off as even the neutral camp helps them out. Ollison could not get those Shadow Poison stacks off onto the Lion. So Hyde's going to walk out scot-free. In fact, he'll salve up and go ahead and take a water rune for himself.
That's a great feeling for Hyde. Just forcing out so much mana use there. Paulson is down to 1 Mango. If they're going to look for that play, it's going to be a bit harder, and he's just going to have to really make this jungle work. He's just emphasizing the pulse, playing safe. I think that's the way you have to go, despite having that stun setup. So far, the early game for Bloom's going nicely. Though down
nice shard. Very, very nice shard. Catches two of them, but the Tombstone going to be placed down. Joe Cam with the tag team still going. They do kill off Keskut, but Dreamer Soul, he wants a bit of revenge. He'll keep the chase up onto Joe Cam with the slow from the Tombstone, but it does wear off now. It does seem like Dreamer Soul, he will not be able to finish off the kill. In fact, top lane now. More action to come as the neutral camp again. Just going at it with these stuns, but Hyde, he'll get the Earth Spike. He'll make a run for it. Ollison, who'll try with the Shadow Poison. This is that one, though, and it looks like Hyde should be all right. In fact, oh, never mind. Ollison, he lands the 4th. That'll be enough.
And it's starting to turn around here. As long as Paulson's nearby, you can look for those counterfights, and you know, you start to stack it up. And you get 4 stacks on, you're going to burst this as support. You're just not that tanky on the line just yet. And on bot?
Yeah, he's in trouble. Makoto, a very nice rotation in, secures the kill for the team. Onto Joe Cam they go. Joe Cam, he should be all right. But I actually really like that choice from Makoto to go ahead and take that kill. Because as the Riki, the faster you get that Diffusal Blade up, the faster you can set the pace for your team. So I think it's much more worthwhile he takes the kill over Dreamer Soul.
He just jumps in at the right time, really early rotation. And that's one of the things when you're playing against a Doom. Like, Alacrity, even if you leave him alone lane, it's not like the Doom does anything in that lane. He just kind of sits back and farms. It just stays the same whether or not the Riki's there. So you can take that opportunity to leave the lane, look for a kill. You're not going to lose your tower in that downtime. And there's just not much GXR can really do right now. They're kind of stuck with their supports in each lane. They can't really rotate the Doom. Well, he does have Doom up. They could look for an opportunity if Alacrity finds the angle, but he's walking under wards. He doesn't have a smoke. He doesn't have an Invis rune, so just kind of waiting around here. As long as he farms to Devour, I suppose you feel okay, but it is a bit slower coming through from GXR.
And that it is. Bot lane Hyde gonna make the rotation down on the Lion. Gonna run right into Joe Cam. Hey, Joe Cam gonna get the vision, giving this information away, but Mizu still being chased down a little bit, but looks like they are just going to kind of leave him be. He does have that ghost form up now as well, so he's not quite as easy to kill. Hyde's going to stick around for a small camp pull, and Joe Cam, he's keeping up the vision for his Necrophos. Now Hyde, he's not really going to be able to get much done. Oh, never mind. Earth spikes out. They do catch Mizu for a second, and the tombstone's down. They want to try and go for the chase. Jocam's still around. He can try to help out as the ghost form now is expended. Jocam back in onto Kesku, trying to get rid of the tombstone. They will pick it up. In fact, they'll turn around now. They want to try to go after Kesku, and they might get him. The Undying dropping lower than Mizu. They will take him out first, but Mizu, can he make his way out of this? It looks like he might be alright, but no, Makoto gets the blink strike out, tricks the trade and blink strikes right back out of this team fight as now FBZ joins in. Jocam, he's still going with the snowball in onto Hyde. He wants to trade something, but he might just get nothing as the disarm does fly out. The tag team does nothing, and they will probably find another kill. In fact, they will. Hyde will take this one on the Lion. Boom Esports fighting back at that bot lane extremely well.
It's a really heavy commitment to shut down the Necrophos, though. That frees up the top lane here for the Leshrac to just keep farming. In fact, it's actually taken over by Paulson. But they kind of free up the lanes a bit for GXR to breed, and that does lead to a slight net worth lead. 2k, Alacrity still kept unchecked on the Doom, and he's just building up with that Devour. Typical Doom things, just always more efficient because of how Devour is nowadays. I think you are still pretty happy as Boom right now. They are getting that activity out for Dreamocell and for Mikado, who, again, as you mentioned, Diffusal is going to be really key for him, and he doesn't really want to hold this lane against a Doom. Level 8 with level 3 Scorched Earth is pretty annoying to deal with. They're just taking what they can get. However, the stacks are being cleared out by IYD. There were 2 quad stacks, 1 triple stack, or 2 triple stacks and 1 double stack, and that's a lot of gold to inject to IYD. He's just shooting up in farm right below the Doom. It's going to reach a really good point where he can start considering some early team fights and some early push.
This is really great news for GXR. I mean, you saw how much In Your Dream was struggling earlier on, but definitely with those stacks, he's caught up so darn well. GXR, you see a bit of a smoke up here from Alacrity and Jocam. They're heading down towards the bot lane where Dreamocell, he's by himself right now. In fact, he does have Hyde around, but that may not be enough. They get the Doom out, but a great Earth Spike. Hyde, he puts a stop to this gank that's happening, and Hyde, he might die for the trouble, but it won't really matter if you get the Spectre out. And that is going to be the Doom expended. First Doom of the game, not panning out to a kill. The Dreamocell, he's stuck around. It won't matter though. He'll get into the tree line, he'll TP up. GXR, however, they're going to be able to get that bottom tier 1 tower for free.
Opens up the map a bit more. They can invade a spot jungle. There are some pretty good wards from Boom to watch movement around the jungle, though. They've got this really sneaky ward right by the ramp, another ward on the opposite ramp as well. So they have information as to where GXR can play. They can look to trade up top. They've got FVZ trying to poke, but their push potential here on Boom just isn't as fast. You just don't have anything like Lesh, no DK on your side, nothing like that. So it's slower going, and that's just more time for GXR to take advantage of this added map control and just kind of invade, get that build up, wait for the next Doom before anything else, and start really playing around his power spike on that Lesh. Very early Hood of Defiance means it's harder to burst down In Your Dream with all the magic damage first. And
well, they're in trouble. Alacrity's trying to move in for that stun. Instead, they'll get in with the snowball. Now the Reaper's side. They blow up Makoto onto Hyde. Rolling Thunder's going to fly through from FBZ to try and help out, but Hyde, he's already gone. He's trying to fight this one, though. Alacrity's quite low, but not low enough to die. They'll have to back off now, as In Your Dream. He wants to try and move forward. He will go back to that T1 mid tower. Geez, you've got to love the aggression here from GXR. You talked about it on the panel, John, but with this kind of draft, they need to make it work. And what a 4-star pin onto Kesku. That was the 4-star of Mizu. Bringing the Undying forward, and they get a bit of a cherry on top of that T1 mid tower.
And this is exactly how GXR needs to play. They've taken out 2 tier 1s by around this 11-minute mark. The map is very open now. Our Ricky's still waiting for Diffusal, so now you've got this awkward situation where you might have to take riskier lane farm, or you're just going to have to share that jungle with your Spectre. Doesn't feel great to have these 2 cores farming at the same time. You're not able to clear out these objectives quickly. Top tier 1 is just about to follow it at 379. So they should probably look to get that done first. But GXR is just having a great time. Like, Paulson's just super efficient with his stacks. They're really getting that farm distribution up quite nicely. Top 3 cores right now, all from GXR. And that last fight broke up while Doom was on cooldown. So next time they engage, Alacrity's going to have that off. Reaper's Scythe is just about half a minute off as well. Boom, they need to find a way to kind of play around those cooldowns. Once they see a couple of those spells committed, they need to maybe consider looking for a kill op. It's just that everything's kind of coming in slowly. Like, our Ricky's just not quite ready for that level of commitment.
He's going to need another few minutes on that mid Ricky. You look at that gold graph though. I mean, GXR top 3 are all the cores of GXR. Really fantastic play. You're seeing that jungle in your dream taking even more stacks. The pulse and continues to make for the team. Really great play out from our support Shadow Demon. Boom Esports, they are going to have a very, very strong mid-game timing though. That's the one thing, right? Like, when this Ricky gets online, it's going to be a bit of a problem. We've seen them deal with it with the Doom and with the Reaper's side. We'll see what Makoto can do. In fact, they've caught out FBZ. Top lane, Purge is out. He'll try to go for the Rolling Thunder, but no, the Snowball is going to put an end to it. And FBZ is going to drop. He's farming so far forward. The XR, they take another kill for themselves.
They're just really, really good with punishing that. Again, they've got better map control, better TP points. So if you go too far forward, someone's going to have to cop that. And I think in this situation, you're happy it's just your Pango. The Spirit Vessel's already up. Blink is still being steadily farmed. It's not all too gloom and doom for Boom, as they allow everyone else to get steady income. Mikado still lacking an Alacrity Blade and the Robe and Recipe, so a long ways off from that Diffusal. It's still about 1k or so. Still have to farm up. Dreamocell, it's a Spectre. Even with the Blade Mail up, you still need so much more. The Manta's probably going to be a starting point, but you know, we're talking about maybe 25-30 minutes when you're finally online with additional items on top. So all GXR needs to do is just keep that pressure. Like, they're all over the map. They're kind of grouped up as 3+2.
Dreamocell, Snowball in, Alacrity. He's a bit far away, but he'll try to break the gap as Dreamocell is going to try and run. He does haunt his way out of there. He is going to be just fine. He does make his way into the mid lane, and now the rest of Boom Esports, they've smoked up. They want to try and punish the side of GXR for this, but JoeCam, he's smoked up with the rest of his team. FBZ does spot him, Rolling Thunder. It's going to be expended at mid, rather bot lane. They've got the Doom as well, Alacrity. He's already down. JoeCam is still being chased down here by FBZ. Swashbuckle not quite on target. In fact, Purge is out. A great chance there by JoeCam. He's split up the team fight. Reaper side, then FBZ. He's been caught out. Now Kezcute, he's going to try and make a run, but he is not a very tanky boy. He will drop us now, Makoto. He's been caught. He needs a blink strike target. He'll go into the backside of them, but it may cost him his own life. But JoeCam will chase him down along with Mizu. And they shouldn't have this, but no tricks. The trade, not going to be enough. Another great team fight from GXR. It looked good for a second there for Boom John, but those shards, they just split up the team fight so darn well at that staircase. And that's all she wrote. In fact, top lane now, Dreamocell.
Oh no.
They still have the Doom up. They'll commit it. Dreamocell, he does not have anywhere to go but the grave. And another nice shard from JoeCam just to lock him in. There's your tips out, Mizu. Loves the plays here. In. I can't quite blame him.
They're just on point with the rotations. Boomer making some really weird decisions. They had to defensively use Haunt. They tried to play around with that information instead to try and clump back in. But again, their fight potential early on is just not quite there. The Diffusal for Mikado is not yet done, so his damage output, his control with the Inhibit active isn't there. They don't really manage to rip off the softer backline that they need to. Sure, they take care of the Shadow Demon, but it takes far longer than I think they'd expect. And they're not really able to get the numbers advantage before engaging. Like, they have to even it out to a 4v4, because they're always going to play 4v5, because of the Spectre just farming. So they need a pick-off to translate into that team fight, and they're just kind of forcing the issue. There's a 7k lead for GXR at 16.5 minutes in. That is more than significant at this point in the game, up against a Spectre. This is just a really slow start for Boom, and GXR knows that. They've smoked up, they're just going hunting again.
FBZ, look how far forward he is. In your dream, just going to run right into him, trying to bait him forward. FBZ not taking it though. He does back off into the tree line, but they are still surrounding us. JoeCam, he gets the snowball off, hits the stun. He got that vision, and now the shards is out. FBZ though, rolling thunder away, and that should be enough as he does commit the TP. Meanwhile, look at Mizu. Well, heroes around, but that they aren't really confident to try and deal with this Necrophos quite yet, and so they'll have to leave him be. This is not really the way that Boom Esports wants to be playing this game, but it just feels they have a choice in the matter at the moment.
Radiant structures.
It's just, they're not able to really dictate that pace. They have to play passive on Boom, so GXR are the ones running around the map, pointing out where they should fight, forcing these engagements, and all Boom can do is kind of just respond. They're sticking as tree so far, they're buying space out for that Riki and Spectre to keep farming up. Rumusal already has the Yasha, has the Manta recipe, just waiting on the ultimate orb. They've got the defuse already in the Mikoto, maybe they go.
They should. Mizu, you're right for now, tricks the trade out, but he still has that ghost form, and now the rest of GXR does move in.
Under attack.
Do not connect the dust on Makoto. It's gonna be just fine. Look at the way GXR is kind of smothering Boom right now. Just making them sit so far back, just near their base, not allowing any kind of neutral camps going for themselves and just taking over that triangle. Boom, they need to be the aggressors. They need to find a good team fight. No choice in the matter. FBZ, roll forward, blink in onto Alacrity, but BKB's already there. He's going to go for the fight now. They'll try to go into the backside of the Dokam. Meanwhile, Alacrity just holding the rest of them. They've almost found one. They'll take down Paulison first, but Alacrity, he's onto the big target. They've got Dreamer Cell. They'll Reaper down onto the Undying now. Yes, good. He'll survive, but Makoto, he may not be so lucky. He'll try to blink away. They chase him down. Quite. Leave him be. In fact, Boom Esports trying to reinitiate now. But can they really take this team fight? Your Dream is quite low in mana. They'll leave them be. 1-for-2 trade in the end. You got Dreamer's Cell for the price of 2 supports. It's really not that bad for GXR. You got the biggest target you could have asked for.
Just slowing down the Spectre so much, and it's just down to how Boom's positioning themselves. They have Dreamer standing far forward, they're trying to play aggressive with Haunt. They're not really set to fight against GXR, like they're just way too strong. That surprise BKB from Alacrity just let him really run down, choose the timing to use that Doom. It's time for GXR to be a bit careful though. With those cooldowns off, they could get jumped here.
Alacrity. Thunder just being kind of pump faked. BKB, if he wants to commit it, he will use it straight away into the TP. Keep in mind, Alacrity, he just brought out his Blink Dagger as well, so once that Doom's up, he's going to be looking to try and make a play ASAP. In fact, even with the stun that he has, try to get aggressive again without the Doom. It hasn't felt like he's really needed it in the team fights, to be fair.
It's just been like a cherry on top. Like, they've taken a couple of those team fights before that without expending the Doom. Heck, sometimes even without expecting the Reaper on the Spec. Like, they just find these pickoffs, lock them in. I have to say, a lot of this is also enabled by their item build-up. Like, Mizu going for 4-staff first, it's not really something a lot of Necrophoses go for.
Makoto barely avoiding Doom. Mizu even TPing down to try and go for the fight, but Makoto's right out of there. The top lane, Hyde, he may not be so lucky as the shards barely miss out. Catching out the Lion. So Boom, they're still surviving. They're still 9k behind. It's a pretty bad place to be, but they could just try to buy more time for Dreamer Cell. That's all you need to do. It is a Spectre after all. Yes, they have the counters to the Spectre. It's still not going to be that easy once you get into the ultra late game. GXR, they're not planning to slow down. They smoke up again. Where are they headed? They are going to wrap around through their own jungle. See, they want to try and make their way into that Radiant Triangle, because that's pretty much exactly where Dreamer Cell is going to be hanging out. It's not going to be an easy task to try and get yourself up there unless Dreamer Cell, he goes into the top lane, he'll try for the TP play, they don't have the vision, Paulison, he won't get the disruption off, instead FBZ, he's been doomed up, Reaper's Scythe committed as well, and it looks like the Pango is set to fall, as now Kezcute will be chased down on the Undying. He's a bit tankier. Haunt is in. They're going to try and fight this one out. They're onto Alacrity now. They want the Doom dead. He's a tanky guy with the BKB, though. Instead, they go on to Mizu with the Aeon Disc. Going to save his life as Kescute now will drop on the Undying. Dreamer Cell, he is not able to fight. He needs to back off, but he cannot. In Your Dream has the control. And Boom Esports, that was a very wishful reinitiation from this Radiant side. And it wasn't even close.
They're just being toyed around by GXR. GXR, their aggression is just near perfect. We finally see Mizu assemble that Aeon Disc as well, so the combo breaker catches them off guard, and they at least find a bit of a consolation prize in Jokam. Not the biggest kill, and is a shared bounty as well, so it's not as much gold as you'd want, but GXR is still in control here. They haven't made progress on Tier 2 objectives. I think that's where they need to start looking next. Less emphasis on finding these kills, more on actually taking objectives, so they can really shut this map down further.
Oh, that Mizu's got the shards up as well, the Death Seeker. It's a bit of fun. Double damage as well now on Mizu. Not that he's going to make much of it. He is a Necrophos after all. Just wants to be that tanky guy in the front lines, you know, just being really annoying to deal with here for Boom. And, well, speaking of Boom, they've smoked up as 5 now. But it was under vision. Into the Roshan pit, this could be a really detrimental play. If GXR realize they've gone for the Roshan, it's not so obvious, even with the smoke vision. So you've got a Spectre, they're behind right now. You wouldn't think they'd try to rush a Roche, but that's exactly what they're going to do. And GXR, they are nowhere near this Roche to contest. And that's actually a very sneaky play from Boom Esports, but it does work out. So GXR,
That's big.
they're moving their way up. They want to fight. Even with that Aegis up on Dreamer Soul, they don't seem to care. And they go who they're going to start on. It looks like they have found Kescute already on that Undying. He'll plop the ultimate, but it won't matter. He's already down. FBZ, Rolling Thunder. They'll go after Mizu on the Necrophos. Finger committed. They will be able to get the first kill on that Necro. And maybe they can keep going. They found Polison on the Shadow Demon. Well, Snowball is there on our Tusk. Alacrity, a big stun out. Dreamer Cell, they're trying to doom him up, but the Hex is there in time. They can't get Dreamer Cell. He'll turn around now. Alacrity, he does eventually get the doom out, but Dreamer Cell's just going to kite around and back off. Mizu, he brought back onto Hyde. They will get the Lion, but they will not get the Aegis. They won't get the Spectre. And well, Alacrity, he's back in after Makoto. Tricks the trade. Is it going to be enough to Soul Rip? It's going to heal him up just enough to allow him to get out, but he's stuck between some trees right now. It won't matter though. Link Strike is there. Spirit Vessel out. Mizu, he doesn't want to die back. Gotta be careful as they haul back in. So much damage being dealt. The Ghost Form gonna save his Dreamer Cell. Forward, trying to go after him. Aegis is gonna be expended with the Reaper Sight being committed. Mizu somehow still alive. Polison trying to get him out with the Blink Strike. Makoto, he'll go into the backside. He'll take care of the Necrophos. On to the rest now. In Your Dream, he wants Makoto dead on that Ricky. They might lose Polison in the process. In fact, Dreamer Cell, he's really getting to work on Makoto. Trying to escape. He still has the tricks of the trade. He'll make it out. Just barely. In fact, never mind. He will drop, but at what cost? They found so many kills on the Spectre. Dreamer Cell, he got a triple kill. And Boom Esports, they are suddenly looking like they're back into this game, John.
Yeah, they punished GXR for kind of forcing the issue. They saw the Aegis get taken, and they still force a fight. It's just a bit optimistic. Their initiation wasn't smooth. They were cut off. They were trying to focus on the Undying first. Didn't really pan out, and it fell flat from there on. Like, with an Aegis, it just doesn't feel great to doom up the Spec. Although In Your Dream's looking for the deny at the very least.
Nice man to dodge. On that Split Earth, and the Tier 1 tower will drop. No deny coming out from In Your Dream. 7k net worth lead is what remains after that last team fight with GXR. They still have the net worth lead, but Dreamer Cell, in that last team fight, he did seem very, very powerful. And we know with this hero, he's nowhere near his peak yet. I'd say once he has that Eye of Skadi up, things get a lot scarier for GXR. Of course, you could kind of count the fact that Dreamer Cell had an Aegis up. That's fair, but it's definitely looking a bit scary as now FPZ. Blink away, TP out with the Rolling Thunder. He's going to be all right.
Mizu.
So on the Necro, Aeon Disc proc, Makoto, that's all he wanted. Can he get himself out though? In Your Dream, gonna try and chase him down. Split Earth, gonna be off the mark. GXR still trying to go in with that aggression, but it does feel like their draft's on a bit of a timer here, John. And again, after that last team fight, things are looking a lot scarier.
I think they're overemphasizing fights. They're not really looking for the objectives. I think what they should do now is just look for a tier 2 to shove in, look for a lane to shove in, go for the objective, take the fight under that area, and just kind of hope that boom kind of trickle in, that you can use your single target control in a big way, transition a couple of kills into a tower, and start to threaten high ground. Because if they don't make progress onto that high ground, well, the Spectre is going to be really fat. Arguably already is with how Dream Assault's farmed up, with a Courier coming back here as well. Our Ricky's also at the point where BKB's up. You've got the Diffusal from earlier. It's going to be into the Yasha plus Aeon Disc next. And the Aeon Disc is just going to break up the combo. We've seen them commit a ton to remove Mikado from the match before the fight really breaks out. This is going to give him enough time to just respond, to bail out, have his line get big ravages off. We've seen Hyde land a ton of 2, 3-man Earth Spikes in this game already. And I think GXR is starting to lose that window a bit. Again, they don't have this big hero that can act as their win condition towards the late game. Doom has utility going through. Not the best damage source. Necrophos Reaper Sight is always relevant, but you don't have something like a Spectre to just carry you through. You don't have something like a Lina that can transition, or like a Puck that can transition into more of a right-click core. None of your heroes do that. So you have to really be cautious about just looking for those fights rather than objectives. You need a little bit of both, but the emphasis needs to be on these towers now.
That's fair. Still, TP's up top. They might try to have a crack here with Alacrity. Let's have the Doom up. Oh, and he's found a perfect time stun. He does catch out the Ricky, but Hyde, he's going to be around to help out. That Doom still doing a lot of damage out onto Makoto and Alacrity. He'll try and chase him down, but does he have the detection? Well, it looks like it won't even matter anyway. In fact, no, it does. Soul Rip is there in time. Alacrity could not finish off the killer. Now in we go. Rolling Thunder to the backside. They found Paulison. They'll get the SD down first. Onto the Tusk. They want the snowball potential gone. Can they get him? It looks like they will. In fact, Alacrity now, he needs to back off ASAP. GXR, they've been caught with their pants down. They really need a way out. And it looks like they'll be alright with their 2 cores. But they lost quite a lot just so quickly. Cascute there with the clutch Soul Rip just the last seconds. GXR, they're not backing off. They don't want to allow this top tier 2 tower to go down. I don't really know if they can really fight this one out. They don't have the Doom up. They're going to jump in. They'll cancel the TP of Dream Assault. 4-star 4's there, though, from Hyde. That's going to be enough for Boom. They won't take the tier 2. They'll get a lot of pressure, a lot of gold, and of XP. They'll get back to farming.
You're getting really big on Dream Cell now. Scotty up, lots of stats, level 19, about to hit the 20 mark for the Dagger Slow or the HP, both really good talents to have on hand. And it gets a bit scary for GXR. They still have that network lead. It almost feels like it's just kind of due to Doom being Doom and Lashrak being highly efficient in jungle and lane clearing. It's not really amounting to big items that are turning this game anymore. Like, Mizu's kind of taken the backseat since finishing the Eon Disc. His progress has been rather slow. Really needs that Sanj-Kaya combo to have a bit more stat resist, to be able to stand in the front line better. And they really need to think about target prioritization. The fights from GXR just feel disjointed.
Nice Rolling Thunder setup, Earth Spike out, but that's not going to be enough. They'll back off. Mid lane. GXR rushing forward. Dream Assault, he's been caught out. Snowball is there in the Walrus Punch. They've got him down, but can they burst him down? Reaper's Sight, not going to be there yet, but it won't matter. They've got so much damage, they will eventually get him. There's Makoto now. He's going to try and go onto Alacrity in the backside. The Doom so low, but the Ghost Form actually going to save him for now. As In Your Dream finishes off Kescute and Paulison. He will drop. Now the Reaper's Sight. Makoto, he's going to survive through it. They'll try to reinitiate onto In Your Dream, but he still has his BKB charge up. Makoto still being chased down. Misu, the Death Pulse. It'll be enough. 4 down for the side of Boom Esports. And that's a 4-for-2 trade. They only found the supports of GXR. GXR, they push towers down very, very fast. Then we go into that mid tier 2.
Radiant structures are
Not going to stand too long. They're forced to use a Fortify here just to save themselves. Really good use of GXR on the information there. Like, they saw the two supports up top. They saw FBZ plus the Lion. And then they just immediately collapse onto mid, knowing that the big team fight from Malone Thunder wasn't there.
BZ, he's gone in. He's trying to defend this mid tier 2. In fact, he's doing quite a bit of damage out onto In Your Dream, but he's not backing off. He still wants this mid tier 2 tower. And they'll be able to get it. The Rolling Thunder not proving to be quite enough.
It just lines up now for GXR. That's what we've been looking for. Tier 2 progress, mid gone, top and bottom left. They can also start to think about high ground if they take something like, say, the Roshan. Next Rosh is going to be big. Aegis, Cheese, Ag Shard. Lots of good upgrades to have on hand. You could maybe hand it over to In Your Dream if they want that split hurt to come out. Even on, well, they already have one in Your Doom, so they're kind of set there. But that's going to be the next objective I think both teams will be looking at. It is still a minute 20 off. That's going to be a little bit more time for Boom to kind of build up that farm before forcing an engagement. Boom does have the Haunt back up. They are working towards that BKB on Dreamocell. Not too far off, all things considered. And he also has his 20 spike, 23 HP for durability. So we'll see if that really helps the cause in the next engagement, as GXR has been rather consistent with the net worth lead. They're back to 10k, bouncing around between 5 to 10 throughout a couple of fights. And that does still give them power despite having a much more early lineup. It does start to feel like they're kind of reaching the peak. So if you're a GXR fan, you kind of want to hope that the team just keeps this momentum up, doesn't really sit back and farm for too long.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see both teams just kind of checking on that Roshan pit. It's going to be 25 seconds away for the Roshan respawn. Smoke up immediately from Boom. They want to try and make their way in for a team fight. They get the initiation. You know they want those supports first. They want the Tusk dead. They want Polison on the SD dead. No saves allowed for GXR. But it looks like they won't feel confident enough to make their move in. Roshan is now up.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
GXR still standing their ground, waiting for that initiation. It's almost like they already know it's coming. FBZ, he does scout out the Roshan now.
Tower is under
They
attack.
get back to their own side of the river. Neither team initiates. It's a bit of a game of chicken over this next Roche. You look at Dreamcell though on that Spectre, he's so close to having that BKB up. You'd love to have that BKB in time for this next Roshan fight. I think that's the idea from Boom, is to try and buy enough time to get that BKB up on the Spectre. And suddenly that Reaper Scythe, it doesn't really matter anymore.
I mean, it's still a really solid source of lockdown, but you're not going to be able to get that killing blow, and that's really hurt the side of GXR, especially since they specifically chose that Necrophos to counter. So, gonna have to be a bit quick. It's only 800 gold away for our Spec, probably less by this point, and it's just really quick for the Spectre to farm now. She has so much space, despite losing a couple of her towers. It evened out the GXR. The mid-tier 2 being gone hasn't really opened as much possibilities for Galaxy Racer as they'd want. They are smoked up now. Lines being drawn. Looks like they want to wrap around towards the top through the jungle here.
What they do, it's a long wrap around through the top lane, it looks like. Makoto's going to be around to break that smoke on the Ricky. They do run into him, but GXR being very, very patient with their initiation here. No real vision to give kind of any information as where Boom is right now. There's that BKB up now on Dreamcell. He'll go for a reset in the fountain, and I think Boom, they might want to go for a fight. You've got the Haunt up, and yeah, they smoke up. They know it'll be a massive, massive fight for Boom Esports. They just need to find the backlines. You want that SD dead, you want the Tusk dead. But GXR, they're not going to make it that easy. Jokam, he's already in the Roshan pit. Good position for him to break the smoke and get himself out if he needs to. He breaks the smoke of Kescute. Decay's there, but it's not going to connect. Neither team really running into each other quite yet. The second Roche, it just has so much on it. It's so important either side gets this.
down to the fact these two teams have players who've played with each other so much as well. Look at the wards, look at the position they've been standing in.
BZ.
FBZ was blocking out smoke, although
He's going for the Rolling Thunder. He found Paulison. They got the SD. Snowball not going to be able to save it. The Ghost Scepter will be able to do so as now. It's a full-scale war in the mid lane. But who's going down first? It's going to be Jokam. Meanwhile, Alacrity.
Dreamo.
He found Dreamer Soul with the Doom. He did not get the BKB off in time. He's going to die. Onto another. They found the Undying Hide. He's trapped in this little igloo made by Jokam. And looks like he is set to fall as they find another kill. Oh boy, the BKB, it never really came out, and it wouldn't have stopped the Doom anyway, but it would have maybe made it a bit easier. Just full chaos in that fight, and now GXR, they've got first dibs on this second Roshan.
that was a smooth ride for GXR. They immediately buy back in 3 heroes, knowing that if they win the fight, they can take the Roshan. They've got the second life to play with, they've got the cheese, they're very secure in this position. And boom! It looked good at the start. They got those instant pickoffs, they just could not protect their Spectre. And just maybe a bit too hasty there from Dreamer. He really needs to use that BKB, not just to block the Reaper, but to really block In Your Dream's damage. Like Doom alone, the damage coming through is nice, but it's really down to In Your Dream melting you with the AoE damage, the Scorched Earth, the Infernal Blade also just ripping right through you. You are seeing FBZ go for a bit of a creep cut there, so they don't have as many waves to play with for that mid shove. And that is going to slow down the progress for GXR. They can't really look for the high ground just yet. It's enough time for Boom to respawn on their big cores now, especially that Spec. But for the side of Boom, they're still waiting on Haunt for a few more seconds. So 40 seconds left for the next Haunt. You have to time that. Aegis might not be the best of ideas to force out with back-to-back fight on 2 lives within your dream. It's just very, very efficient use of that Aegis on your Leshrac, just because, you know, the regained mana is also super nice for that hero. So you might want to be a bit more cautious here. Maybe just take the time to farm. There's no pressure on Boom to play faster. That pressure is really on GXR. Boom are much happier building up on Spec, building up on Ricky, and just working on these items. Like Mikado right now, he's waiting for that Nullifier to come in. Once you have that Nullifier, the Force Staffs don't feel as effective. The Ghost Forms from the Necrophos isn't going to save. Ghost Scepters won't work. So that's going to open up a lot of possibilities for Boom. They just need to finish farming that up.
There is certainly a lot of value with that Nullifier from Makoto, and in all fairness, he is getting quite close. Like, he has enough gold for the Sacred Relic if he wants to buy that. I suppose he wants to save for the buyback gold, though, as GXR, if they do get you in a good team fight, we know how fast they can go high ground with this draft. So you definitely need that buyback gold active and ready to go. So it looks like everyone has reconnected, and we should be getting underway very, very soon. Still a 10k net worth lead for GXR. Love the fact that In Your Dream even found the Timeless Relic, by the way. So he gets the spell damage buff, he gets the debuff duration buff. It's kind of one of those perfect items for the Leshrac, and oh, In Your Dream's been blessed today in this game 1, at least for now. See how much further he can go with this Lesh.
I mean, he's had a pretty great run, only died once, and I think he died before picking up that Bloodstone. So he has 27 charges in the Bloodstone, a heck lot of mana and HP regen coming on hand. That's just going to feel really good in the middle of these fights. He never has any mana issues, even leaving that Pulse Nova on. I think, Boom's going to have to correct that somehow. But again, Aegis is still up, so you're going to have to wait a few more minutes before you can clearly get a clean kill on the Lesh. And GXR is actually using this farm time quite nicely themselves. They've got the AC up under Doom, and they've got a lot of armor riding on Alacrity. He can kind of help burst down physically some of these cores as well. And he's working towards that Arcane Blink, which is going to be fantastic once that's up. Faster Doom cooldowns can enable them to be much more aggressive.
Top lane, Makoto and FBZ are there. Rolling Thunder's going to be popped. He's by himself right now on this Leshrac. But Makoto's not going to make the jump in. And Your Dream will be allowed to just TP down bot to join his team.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower
Riku just falls. He did a pretty good job at least shoving back the wave a bit, so they can't instantly trade, and they can start pressuring the high ground. Remember, Aegis is still up for a very long time. They can look for that really fast push with the Edict up.
But they can. You see that shards from the Leshrac already denying the area around that tier 3 tower, and we always talk about how great it is for high ground defense, John, but it's also great for trying to go high ground with that Diabolic Edict and that area denial. And your Dream chipping away at that tier 3 tower along with Mizu. They'll get the tier 3. Onto the melee barracks. Boom. They've smoked up on the side. They're looking for a way into this team fight. Again, they want the supports first. Spirit Vestal out. Just chipping away at the Leshrac, but they've got the racks. That might be enough. Boom. They do not make the jump. They'll let them go.
They just can't afford to commit. Like, if that fight falls flat, even if you find one kill in your Dream, you're not guaranteed a second. The best they can hope for is just have Dream Assault keep farming up, have this Ricky Mikado try to finish the Nullifier. I believe he has the gold. He just lacks buyback on top of it, so a little bit more for weight if they want to go to that online. In fact, they don't. Straight up Nullifier. This could give them the spike they need, and just taking off the 4 staffs, taking off that ghost form coming true can help them, especially the Spectre, to focus down on these targets. The issue is they're not finding openings. GXR has constantly stuck together as a team. No one's lagging behind. No one's playing on the opposite side of the map. It's a full-on team rotation from GXR, and that just keeps them protected. Strength in numbers. Haunt's not going to isolate one single hero, and it just limits the capabilities of Boom. One lane's always going to shove in. Someone's going to have to be ready for the response. We do at least have travels on FBZ, so he can always zip down to the bot lane and de-shove. But they're just really not able to cross that river all too comfortably. Like, they're stuck farming, and it's still good for a Spectre, but it just doesn't feel like they're catching up fast enough to counteract how well GXR is moving around the map.
And look how tanky they're going to be on the side of GXR. Like, Mizu's already got that Heart of Tarrasque. In Your Dream's got enough gold for one very soon if he wants it. Just buy it outright right now. They're going to be 4K carries, just, or 4K cores just kind of walking around the map for GXR, but they are going to jump in now. FBZ, he's there with the Rolling Thunder. They've blown up Paulison again. Doom's out though. Dreamercell, he's going to cop a bit of man fight. He'll just stand his ground and now back off after both supports are gone. Who do they go after next? Alacrity, he's being focused. Well, Reaper Scythe is there though. Makoto will survive just barely as Kescute. He will drop, and Makoto, he'll make a run. So instead, they'll have to go after Hyde on that Lion. And they'll get him. More chaos in this team fight. And that was just a 2-for-2 trade, believe it or not. Just both supports from both teams going down, but all cores survive.
Say that feels maybe nicer for Boom. They only really have to expend, Haunt compared to Doom and Reaper's Sight being expended, so it's a bit slower for GXR to take the next fight. They can still look for the push. It's just a bit risky. Nice FBZ.
They're on to Mizu. He's got the Aeon Disc though, and it will proc. He should be able to maybe find his way out. He's a very tanky Necrophos now. Acts up on Dreamercell. He can Shadow Step in if he wants. BZ, he's gone too far or no. He gets the Rolling Thunder off in time, and now the Shadow Step comes in. They want to try and reinitiate. Onto Mizu again. The Necrophos dropping quite low and does go down. Now onto In Your Dream. They'll go after that Leshrac. He'll try to fight back with the Pulse Nova. BKB's making it very hard though, but Boom Esports, they need to back now as they're looking for a way back in. Alacrity does make the jump in. Onto Dream itself. The Split Earth is only going to connect on Kescute. They get the Undying kill. They lost Mizu for that. So it seems like GXR are more than happy to just keep moving forward. It's In Your Dream. He has not backed off. He has the hard up, 4K HP. That'll be another tier 2 tower being taken down by the Lesh.
That's all outer towers gone for Boom. It's going to be a bit trickier for them to step out, even for stuff like, say, the Roshan. Got major map control advantage for GXR. All their tier 2 still up. They've still got a tier 1 bot. They're much safer in their jungle if they want to take a step back and farm up. And they're going to have their cooldowns off in a bit. Like, they took that second fight without Doom, without the Reaper Sight. When the respawn's in from Mizu, it's going to have that sight. They're going to have the Doom off in a few seconds. So they could actually look to go back here on GXR's side. There's not too much to worry about as long as they find the right targets up front first. Then they can certainly make things happen. Just need that information out. We just need to really find that squishy target that they want. It's either Dreamosol dies first or Mikado dies first. I think those are the two big ones you want to doom up, and you can just kind of go from there. Like this Undying doesn't feel like it's particularly tanky at this point. The Tombstone's still annoying, especially for the slow, but it doesn't tend to live too long, especially since your Doom went for the AC anyway.
So much pressure in this game one. You'd love to have that game one advantage in this series going into game two, and of course the loser of this does have to leave the qualifiers for good. The winner will move on to top 6. Just so much pressure. Could go either team's way. You've still got that 13k net worth lead on the side of GXR, but is it going to matter later on? A little shadow step in the mid lane. It's going to harass out Alacrity a little bit. Getting a bit of vision. GXR just maintaining their composure, not panicking. Just gonna back off as a team, smoke up as 4. Just follow in your dream as he baits the side of Boom Esports in. Speaking of Boom, they are rather close to the smoked up GXR. Hyde might run right into the brick. Smoke and does. Paulson will have his smoke broken. They jump forward. Makoto, though, he's jumped in. They go after the Shadow Demon. Meanwhile, Keskut has been caught out. Now Dreamer Cell, he's in the team fight. They got in your dream on the left track, but he's just so tanky. He's not taking any damage whatsoever. Finger being thrown out. He is still alive, though. Now Mizu, Reaper Scythe catches out Dreamer Cell. They'll get the Spectre. They've got FBZ, and they even found Makoto on the Ricky. He can blink strike away unless they can perma-stun him up, and it looks like they just may. They do kill him off. FBZ, he brought back right at the tail end of this team fight. Hyde, meanwhile, still being chased down, but he does manage to blink out. Now GXR. Well, they don't know this yet, but Roshan's up in roughly 12 seconds. They could try to force buybacks by going after that Roshan.
And that could be a really big win as well. No Haunt, only the Shadow Step coming out from Dreamosol. After that, Roche is going to be forced, and it's just going to make that engagement for Boom a lot more awkward. Already buying back into Ricky to prevent this high ground push, but this is going to go real quick if you don't find a way to push in your Dream away from this.
They get the tier 3 tower. FBZ, a good stun out, will turn around for the secondary stun. Alacrity, who'll try to jump in. They really wanted to try and burst down that left track, but for now he'll be fine with that disruption. He'll try to make a run, but no, they get the kill. Godlike spree the way of Keskut of all people. Now Dreamer Cell, he was thinking about moving more forward. In fact, FBZ, he wants to go, but he's been caught out. Stun there from Alacrity. Snowball, meanwhile, on the side, gonna go really forward as Makoto jumps the back lines. Tries to go after Paulson. Will blink strike out again onto Jokam. They've got the Hex there. They're trying to save though. Purge is out as well. Dreamer saw a very slow moving target at the moment, but they will make the jump in back onto Jokam. They'll get the Tusk down as Alacrity. BKB TP out. He'll leave the rest behind. Paulson, he'll try to do the same, but he will drop as now Mizu. He's being chased down. He'll try to run, but there is probably no running as he'll turn around. He'll try to fight back a little bit. And he is a pretty tanky guy, just not tanky enough when you're surrounded by the whole team of Boom. And John, really bad news if you're a GXR fan. They don't have many buybacks and Roshan is up.
They choose to, again, force a bit of a fight without Doom up and having Reapers up, but not quite being there yet for Mizu. So it's, again, an awkward moment for GXR to engage. This is going to be big for Boom. Free Ag's Blessing coming through as well. That could be big on whoever decides to pick it up. Of course, it's going to be Mikado. Pocket Ricky available. Really easy way to have even more of a global strat. Shadow step in with a Ricky on top. That is going to be a nice set of kills coming out from Doom if they do play that way.
Well,
GXR, just, oh.
FBZ, he's down to the Doom. They do deny him off. Nice deny there from Makoto as Alacrity. He's still being chased down. Dreamer, so he gets the Spectral Dagger out. Alacrity has nowhere to go. He does have buyback gold. But that is a big death for the side of GXR.
Yeah, it's a really nice kill to have. Hyde is starting to build up on these Finger of Death kills as well. 6 up. He's got the plus 20 damage per kill, plus 70 HP per Finger of Death kill as well. So a nice comfortable amount of HP on the support line, and that's something that's causing issues for both sides, really, how tanky some of these heroes are. On GXR, they went a heart on the Necrophos, they went a heart on their Leshrac. Doom's just naturally tanky as well, but even Boom is a bit tankier than you'd want. Like, Kezcute, as long as he gets 1 or 2 decay stacks off, feels a lot slower to kill off. Then you have to focus on the Tombstone. Hyde has 2.5k HP. It just makes it really awkward for both sides, but more on GXR to really find that immediate burst that they'd want. So, just complicating matters for GXR. Their lead is dropping to 5k. They have their skulls though.
They've caught him out. Reaper's side.
Ooh,
Makoto, he's
buyback.
blown up. No buyback. He's gone for 2.5 minutes.
Radiant's middle
That brings back some memories from the old Reaper side, John. Just how long you can die. As now they move in to the mid racks. GXR looking very good to take this game number 1.
is under attack. Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
How do you defend if you're boosted?
Radiant's middle barracks.
One small slip up like that, and suddenly your game just looks so much harder. You do have the Haunt up, Shadow Step up in a bit, but without the Riki, it just feels like the follow-up damage isn't there. Punishment's really good from GXR, and this Fortify is not going to change a thing. LYD is just going to stand there, keep spamming his spells, keep dying the area. And creeps could be coming out soon, and boom, all they can do is really stare.
Yeah, they
Dreamer
haunt
Soul?
in. Playman will pop Dreamer Soul. It's a very kind of aggressive move in, but they do miss the Split Earth initially. Rolling Thunder is there. They'll try to go after Mizu, but Wind Waker will save the day. He'll move forward. FBZ, he's still going to try and go for this. But it's just a bit of control, as in your dream, he just keeps going after those Raxes. He does not care about the heroes around him. They're trying to defend, but Jocam, he's in now, trying to buy more space. Dreamer Cell, he's dropping quite low in terms of HP. They won't have the Reaper's Scythe, but it may not matter with those illusions out, doing so much damage. Dreamer Cell still backing, but look at this in your dream, moving forward. He'll get the Aegis of the Immortal. That'll be the first life. They find him a second time, the Purge is out. Dreamer Cell, he's trying to back. While in your dream, still goes for that top set of racks. And it should be Megas very soon. As Jocam continues to buy time on the task. FBZ, another Rolling Thunder, does get it done too. Megas are up though, they've got to try and fight back right here, right now. Jocam, he'll be able to back off in your dream. He'll move forward with alacrity. They'll buy a bit more time. Meanwhile, FBZ still rolling around. There's your Haunt out now. They really want to try and blow up this Leshrac. They've almost got him, but no! The Snowball is there in time. They'll buy some more time in your dream. He'll get the Bloodstone active off. He will survive through it all, as they found the Undying as well. He should drop. Dreamer Cell's gone, and that'll be GG for game 1.
Oh my
GXR.
god.
I mean, these guys, they just come out of nowhere. And they just look incredible.
Yeah, it's just looking fantastic. Again, since they've had that roster shakeup with In Your Dream stepping in, it feels like they finally found a roster that clicks into place. For Boom's part, I mean, it looked pretty tight early on. They were keeping it steady. They were finding some fights. It looked like they were reaching that point towards a late game where the Spectre Riki comes online, but GXR just managed to find the objectives eventually, take some fights, and just clean up. I think Boom's going to have to really shake it up for game 2 if they want a shot at still staying in these qualifiers.
We're going to head to a short break, John, and right after that break, we're going to be back to discuss what happened in this game number 1.